Hello students. In the last lecture we have seen or we have completed our endocrine part of pancreas and basic introduction of adrenal gland we have seen. So in this lecture a short recap from introduction of adrenal glands. We are starting here. So adrenal glands which are located on the upper poles of the kidneys and having two parts, adrenal cortex and medulla. So adrenal glands, there are two adrenal glands situation on the upper pole of each kidney. As they are located on the upper pole of kidney, they are also called as suprarenal glands and their weight is only 4 gram. So adrenal glands, two in number, situation or location on the upper pole of the kidneys and weight is only 4 grams. Let us see the parts of adrenal glands. There are two parts of adrenal glands. First one is adrenal cortex and second one is adrenal medulla. Cortex is the outer portion of the adrenal gland while medulla is the central portion of adrenal gland. But this cortex is 80% of the gland while medulla is only 20% of the total gland. So adrenal gland is made up of two distinct parts. First part is cortex, which one outer, and second one is the medulla, which one is inner or the central portion. But cortex constitute of 80% while medulla is 20% of the total gland. So let us see in the diagram. Here is the adrenal gland. The outermost covering of the adrenal gland is of connective tissue capsule. Yes, we will use different colors for that. So this one is the connective tissue capsule. Then cortex region is outermost while medulla region is inner one. So here in the green portion, so this one is the cortex portion of the adrenal gland, while in the pink color I have highlighted the medulla portion. That one is the central portion of adrenal gland. So out of both these, cortex and medulla, cortex is only 20%, while cortex region is of 80%. So cortex is outer one and 80%, while medulla is present inner portion or in the central portion and it constitutes of only 20%, while adrenal gland has a covering of connective tissue capsule. So in the histological slide here, so this one is the outer one capsule, connective tissue capsule, while cortex region is from this total region is the cortex region, while this region is medulla region. So here the cortex is again divided into three portions. First one is glomerulosa, second one is fasciculata, and third one is reticularis. So outer portion or outer layer or outer zone of cortex is zona glomerulosa. So here is zona glomerulosa, and zona fasciculata is the middle one, and zona reticularis is the inner one, and this zona reticularis is close towards the medulla portion. So this one is zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and zona reticularis. So mnemonics for remember of these zones, that is GFR, but this GFR is not glomerular filtration rate. Here the GFR stands for glomerulosa, fasciculata, and reticularis. So this GFR is the mnemonic to remember various zones of the adrenal cortex. Zona glomerulosa, outer one, zona fasciculata, middle one, and zona reticularis is the inner one. While cortex region is only 20%. These two parts are different from each other in the development, structure, and function. This is very important point to differentiate both, that is cortex and medulla, as these both regions or both the parts of adrenal cortex are developed from different structure. As we have seen in the last lecture, cortex is developed from mesonephros, while this medulla is developed from neural crest. And as they are developed from the different parts, their structure is totally different, and as their structure is different, their functions are also different because they are developed from different regions. So let us see development of adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla develops from neural crest, and sympathetic nervous system is also developed from the same part, that is neural crest. So both of these adrenal medulla and sympathetic nervous system both are developed from neural crest, so that their secretions are also same and their functions are quite same. So its secretions and functions are resembled to that of sympathetic nervous system, because sympathetic nervous system and adrenal medulla are developed from neural crest, so that their secretions as well as functions are same. So outer cortex, it contains glandular tissue because it is developed from mesonephros, so that it contains glandular tissue, that means tissue of glands, while in the inner medulla it contains nervous tissue because this medulla region is developed from neural crest, so that it contains nervous tissue. While cortex is divided into three zones, as we have seen in the diagram in the previous slide, and these three zones are zona glomerulosa, which one is outer, while zona fasciculata, which one is middle, and zona reticularis, which one is the inner. So each region secretes its own set of hormones. That means zona glomerulosa secretes different hormone to that of fasciculata and reticularis. So each of these zones secretes different hormones. Then hormones of adrenal medulla. As we have seen that this adrenal medulla is developed from nervous part or neural crest, so their secretions are same as that of sympathetic nervous system. So adrenal medulla secretes hormones which are also neurotransmitters, that is adrenaline, noradrenaline, and dopamine. While this adrenaline is also called as epinephrine, while this noradrenaline is also called as norepinephrine, And third or last one hormone secreted from medulla is the dopamine. So these are the also the neurotransmitters which are secreted from sympathetic nervous system, as both of these are developed from neural crest. Let us see the development of cortex region, that is adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex developed from mesonephros, while renal tissue are also developed from this mesonephros. It secretes entirely a different group of hormones known as corticosteroids. So, hormones secreted from adrenal cortex are called as corticosteroids. As this corticosteroid contains two words, that is cortico, that means it related to adrenal cortex, while steroids because these hormones are steroid in nature. Cortico, that means the hormone secreted from adrenal cortex, while steroid word, that means the hormones secreted from adrenal cortex are steroid in nature, so that these hormones are named as corticosteroids. Let us see hormones of adrenal cortex. As I have just told, adrenocortical hormones are steroid in nature, hence the name is corticosteroids, and these are the hormones secreted from adrenal cortex. First one is mineralocorticoids, second one is glucocorticoids, while third one is sex hormones. So based on their functions, corticosteroids are classified into the three groups. First one is mineralocorticoids, second one is glucocorticoids, and third one is sex hormones. This classification is based on the functions, but as well as with the different functions, they are secreted from different zones. These mineralocorticoids are secreted from zona glomerulosa, while glucocorticoids secreted from zona fasciculata, while sex hormone are secreted from zona reticularis. And as these different zones have different tissues, so that the hormones secreted from these zones have also different functions. So based on their function, corticosteroids are classified into three groups. First one is mineralocorticoids, second one is glucocorticoids, and third one is sex hormones. Let us say adrenal cortex. Adrenocortical hormones. These are the three: mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, and sex hormone. These are secreted from various zones of adrenal cortex. So let us see these zones in the diagram. So this one is outer zone, that is zona glomerulosa, while this one is zona fasciculata, while this one is zona reticularis. So this zona reticularis secretes different set of hormones, that is androgens, that means sex hormones, while the middle zone, that is zona fasciculata, so this zone secretes different hormone, that is glucocorticoids, while the outer zone, that is zona glomerulosa, secretes a different set of hormones that are called as mineralocorticoids. All names of the hormones are specific because of their functions. Here the word mineralocorticoids contains two important words, that one mineral and second one is corticoids. That means the hormones which are responsible for maintenance of minerals and which one are steroid in nature and secreted from cortex. So that hormones are called as mineralocorticoids. While here glucocorticoids, which are responsible for glucose maintenance, and corticoid, that means hormones secreted from cortex, while androgens are the sex hormones. So these are the hormones secreted from adrenal cortex. Three hormones: mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, and sex hormones. Let us see the transport of first set of hormone, which is secreted from outer zone, that is zona glomerulosa. Transport of mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids are transported with the plasma protein, especially globulins. The binding is very loose because they have to release from these proteins or plasma proteins for their action, and 50% of these hormones are present in the free form. That means the hormones secreted from zona glomerulosa are called as mineralocorticoids, and these mineralocorticoids are transported from the zona glomerulosa towards the target organ with the help of plasma proteins in the blood. But 50% of these mineralocorticoids are transported with the help of plasma proteins, while 50% of these hormones are present in the free form, and remaining 50% binding is with plasma proteins, and this binding is very loose, while 50% are in the free form, that means in the blood with free form. So these mineralocorticoids are transported towards the target organs from zona glomerulosa with the help of globulins, but only 50% hormone are transported with these globulins, while 50% are transported in the free form. Let us see the next set of hormone, that is glucocorticoids, and these glucocorticoids are secreted from middle zone, that is fasciculata, zona fasciculata, and these glucocorticoids are transported by plasma protein known as glucocorticoids binding globulin, and 94% of glucocorticoids are transported by these proteins, while 6% are found in the free plasma. So these glucocorticoids are secreted from zona fasciculata. After secretion from the zona fasciculata, they are transported towards the target organs, and this transport is with the help of blood, but this transport is with binding with the plasma proteins, but only 94% of glucocorticoids are transported with these globulins, and that globulins are called as glucocorticoids binding globulins, while 6% are found in the free plasma. So that means 94% are in the binding form, while 6% are in the free form. Now the last set of hormone from cortex or adrenal cortex, that is sex hormones. Adrenal sex hormones are transported by another special plasma proteins known as sex hormone binding globulin. So these sex hormones are secreted from zona reticularis, and they are transported toward the target organs with the help of special plasma proteins, and that plasma proteins are called as sex hormone binding globulin. So this is about transport of adrenal cortex hormones. Adrenal cortex hormones are of three types. First one is mineralocorticoids, second one is glucocorticoids, and third one is sex hormones. So let us see first set of hormone, that is mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids are the corticosteroids that act on the minerals. So their name is mineralocorticoids because their action is on the minerals or electrolytes, but particularly on which electrolytes or minerals? That are the sodium and potassium. So mineralocorticoids are act on the minerals which are sodium and potassium. So their name is mineralocorticoids, and these hormones are secreted from which zone? That is zona glomerulosa. Mineralocorticoids. There are two types of mineralocorticoids. First one is aldosterone and second one is 11-deoxycorticosterone. So these are the two mineralocorticoids which are secreted from outer zone, that is zona glomerulosa, and they act on the electrolytes that are sodium and potassium. So let us see the source of secretion of mineralocorticoids. So this source of secretion is from outer zone of cortex, that is zona glomerulosa of adrenal cortex. So source of secretion is mineralocorticoids are secreted by zona glomerulosa of adrenal cortex, while chemistry, as these hormones are steroid in nature, and half-life period is 20 minutes. Let us see their daily output as well as plasma level. So daily output, that means daily in which quantity these hormones are secreted per day. That means in a day aldosterone is secreted from zona glomerulosa in the quantity that is 0.15 microgram per day, while 11-deoxycorticosterone is secreted 0.2 microgram per day, and the plasma level, that is of aldosterone, is 0.006 microgram per deciliter, while for that of 11-deoxycorticosterone is 0.006 microgram per deciliter. So this is about daily output as well as plasma level. So plasma level, that means in how much quantity these mineralocorticoids are present in our blood or blood plasma. So aldosterone is present in our blood plasma in the quantity that is 0.006 microgram per deciliter of blood, while 11-deoxycorticosterone is also present in the same level, that is 0.006 microgram per deciliter. While daily output is different for both these hormones, daily output for aldosterone is 0.15 microgram per day, while 11-deoxycorticosterone is 0.2 microgram per day. So let us see mineralocorticoid, that is aldosterone. So aldosterone is very important than that of 11-deoxycorticosterone because 90% of mineralocorticoid activity is provided by this aldosterone. So this hormone is very important to that of 11-deoxycorticosterone because of 90% of mineralocorticoid activity is carried out by this hormone, that is aldosterone. So this hormone is very important than that of 11-deoxycorticosterone, and it also maintains osmolarity as well as volume of our ECM. That means this hormone is responsible for maintenance of our osmolarity of blood as well as our volume of blood or ECF, extracellular fluid. Let us see the synthesis of aldosterone. So can you guess which hormones are responsible for synthesis of aldosterone? If you remember that the source of secretion of some hormones from hypothalamus and from anterior pituitary. So hypothalamus and anterior pituitary. Hypothalamus secretes CRH hormone, that is corticosteroid releasing hormone, while anterior pituitary secretes one hormone, that is ACTH, that acts on adrenal gland, that is adrenocorticotropic hormones. So these are the two hormones which are important for the synthesis of aldosterone, or for stimulation of adrenal cortex for the synthesis of aldosterone. As the CRH is secreted from hypothalamus, and this CRH is transported towards the anterior pituitary with the help of hypothalamo-hypophyseal blood vessels, portal blood vessels, and after reaching to the anterior pituitary, this CRH hormone acts on corticotrophs cells, and this corticotroph cells get stimulated with the help of this CRH, and this corticotroph cells secretes the hormone ACTH. While this ACTH is transported from anterior pituitary to the adrenal glands, as these are the target organs of the ACTH. So these both hormones, that is CRH and ACTH, are important for the synthesis of aldosterone. So let us see with the help of diagram. As hypothalamus contains neurons, so from hypothalamus this CRH hormone is released, and this CRH acts on the pituitary cells, or particularly anterior pituitary, and in anterior pituitary this CRH acts on the corticotroph cells. This one is corticotroph cell, which is the target cell for this CRH. As this hormone is protein in nature, this CRH binds with the membrane receptors and forms second messenger and stimulates the enzyme system, that is PKA, that means protein kinase A, and this protein kinase A is responsible for the secretion of hormone ACTH, that means synthesis of these proteins, as ACTH is also protein in nature. After that, ACTH is released from anterior pituitary. This one is corticotroph cell of anterior pituitary, and from here the ACTH is released due to the stimulation of this CRH, and this ACTH acts on the adrenal cortex, because the target cell for this ACTH is adrenal cortex cells. And as this hormone ACTH is again protein in nature, this binds with membrane receptors, again forms second messenger, and this second messenger helps to activate protein kinase A enzyme system, and this enzyme system is responsible for carrying out various biochemical reactions in the cell. So this is about synthesis of aldosterone, but actual synthesis takes place with the help of so let us see with the help of this flowchart, that is cholesterol. These are the some precursor form for the synthesis of aldosterone. So cholesterol is get converted into pregnenolone, and this pregnenolone is again converted into progesterone. Then this progesterone is again converted into 11-deoxycorticosterone, that is the hormone of zona glomerulosa, and this one is a precursor of aldosterone, and this again converted into corticosterone. This again converted into 18-hydroxycorticosterone, and finally this is converted into aldosterone. So these are the steps for synthesis of aldosterone. So this is all about synthesis of aldosterone, and actually this hormone is synthesized in the zona glomerulosa cells with the help of hormone ACTH. When this ACTH binds with zona glomerulosa cells, then it forms HRC and activates the enzyme system, that is PKA, protein kinase enzyme system with the help of second messenger, that is cyclic AMP. Let us see the site of action for the aldosterone, that means target organ or target cells for the aldosterone. So main site of action are density and collecting duct of the nephrons. So density and collecting duct of the nephrons are the main site of action or the target target cells of the aldosterone. So target organ for the aldosterone is the kidney, while target cells are the renal tubule of the nephrons and particularly density and collecting ducts of the nephron. Let us see mode of action. As this hormone is steroid in nature, and steroid hormones binds with the cytoplasmic receptors, while protein hormone binds with the membrane receptors. So aldosterone is the steroid in nature, so this binds with the cytoplasmic receptors and acts through the mRNA mechanism. So let us see this with the help of diagram. Here in the diagram, the steroid hormones which are binds with the cytoplasmic receptors, that means receptors which are present in the cytoplasm, and they forms HRC, and this HRC is helpful to activate mRNA, and this mRNA helps to activate the synthesis of proteins. So sequence of events for the action of aldosterone is, first one is aldosterone is a lipid soluble because this is steroid in nature. It diffuses into the cytoplasm of the tubular epithelial cells through the lipid layer of the cell membrane. As these hormones are steroid in nature or lipid in nature, they can easily pass through the bilipid cell membrane and they easily diffuse into the cytoplasm and binds with cytoplasmic receptors. In the cytoplasm, aldosterone binds with the specific receptor proteins. Aldosterone receptor complex diffuses into the nucleus. That means after formation of HRC, this HRC diffuses into the nucleus where it binds to the DNA and causes formation of mRNA. So HRC diffuses into the nucleus to form mRNA, and this mRNA diffuses back into the cytoplasm and causes the protein synthesis along with the ribosomes. So this mRNA are responsible for stimulation of the ribosomes for the synthesis of proteins. So this is about mode of action of aldosterone. Let us see the functions of aldosterone. As aldosterone is mineralocorticoid hormone, so aldosterone is responsible for maintenance of minerals, that means osmolarity. Aldosterone has three important functions. It increases first reabsorption of sodium ions, second excretion of potassium ions, and third one is secretion of H plus ion. That means aldosterone is responsible for reabsorption of sodium ions and excretion of K ions and H ions. That means hydrogen ions and potassium ions are excreted out of the body with the help of aldosterone hormone along with the urine, while aldosterone is responsible for reabsorption of sodium into the blood. So aldosterone has these three important functions. First one is reabsorption of sodium ions, mainly from renal tubules, also from sweat and salivary glands and intestine. That means aldosterone reabsorbs sodium from renal tubules as well as sweat and salivary glands and from intestine. So from these sites, sodium get reabsorbed into the blood under the influence of hormone aldosterone. So aldosterone is responsible for increasing sodium level in the blood. With the help of reabsorption of sodium ions from renal tubules, from sweat glands, salivary glands and our intestine. While at the same time, aldosterone is responsible for excretion of potassium ions through the renal tubules as well as excretion of H plus ions from the renal tubules, so that our K plus ion concentration and H plus ion concentration get decreases, because aldosterone causes excretion of K ion and H ion from the blood into the urine or through the urine. So indirectly, aldosterone acts on ECF volume and blood pressure. Here sodium ion is responsible for maintenance of blood pressure, and aldosterone acts on this sodium ions, so that aldosterone indirectly acts on our blood pressure. So let us see sodium ion reabsorption in nephrons. Aldosterone increases sodium reabsorption from DCT and collecting duct. Suppose these are the blood renal tubule portion, and this is blood vessel. So under the influence of aldosterone, sodium is reabsorbed from renal tubule into the blood vessel. So sodium gets reabsorbed under the influence of hormone aldosterone, but this reabsorption is from density and collecting duct of the tubular portion of the nephron. Hypersecretion of aldosterone causes loss of sodium through the urine decreases, while hyposecretion of aldosterone, loss of sodium through urine increases. So let us see how this hypersecretion is responsible for loss of sodium ion into the urine decreases. When this aldosterone is secreted in excess form, that means hypersecretion of aldosterone causes increased reabsorption of sodium into the blood, so that loss of sodium through the urine get decreases, because this sodium is reabsorbed more into the blood, so that in the urine it get decreases, and this terminology is called as hyponatremia. Natri is related to sodium. Hypo, that means less, and urea, that means in the urine. So when there is a hypersecretion of aldosterone, there is a decreased sodium ion through the urine get excreted, and that terminology is called as hyponatremia. Then if this aldosterone secretion is get less or decreased, then what will happen? There is a decreased reabsorption into the blood, and when there is a decreased reabsorption of sodium into the blood, then this sodium is excreted through the urine. So there is a loss of sodium through urine get increases, and this terminology is called as hypernatremia. And this hypernatremia, that means 20 gram per day are excreted through the urine, that means 20 grams of sodium are excreted through the urine. 20 grams of sodium are excreted through the urine per day. when there is a less secretion of aldosterone. Sodium is reabsorbed from sweat gland also under the influence of the hormone aldosterone. So loss of sodium from the body is get prevented. That means sweat glands, from the sweat glands, aldosterone from the sweat glands, sodium is reabsorbed, so that in our sweat less sodium ions are get excreted, and so that in our body these sodium ions are reabsorbed. That means in blood this sodium concentration it get increases, but under the influence of these hormones. So sodium is reabsorbed from sweat glands under the influence of aldosterone. So loss of sodium from the body is get prevented. That means loss of sodium in our perspiration is get prevented under the influence of aldosterone. So when there is a hypersecretion of aldosterone in the person, in that person's perspiration contains less amount of sodium ions, because there is a increased reabsorption from the sweat glands into the blood. Let us see about salivary glands. In the salivary glands, aldosterone also causes reabsorption of sodium. So loss of sodium through the saliva is get prevented. So that means overall sodium ion concentration is get less excreted through our sweat, our saliva, as well as from our urine. So in our urine, saliva and sweat, when sodium get excreted less when aldosterone secretion is get increases. Aldosterone helps in the conservation of sodium in the body, so that aldosterone is helpful to conserve our ECF sodium. That means sodium present in our extracellular fluid get conserved with the help of this aldosterone. Aldosterone increases sodium absorption from intestine also, and especially from colon. It prevents loss of sodium through the feces. That means less sodium is excreted through our stool. So aldosterone overall sodium reabsorption increases. So overall action of this aldosterone in our body, that is reabsorption of sodium from various places, that is from renal tubules, from sweat glands as well as salivary glands, and from intestine. So from all these parts sodium ions get reabsorbed in our body, so that less sodium is excreted through the urine, less sodium is excreted through our perspiration, less sodium is excreted in our saliva, and less sodium is excreted out through feces under the influence of this aldosterone. Aldosterone deficiency leads to diarrhea with the loss of sodium and the water, and when this aldosterone get deficient, then there is no reabsorption of the sodium, and sodium is excreted out, and this sodium is when excreted, this sodium carries along with water, and so that there may causes diarrhea to the patient when the aldosterone deficiency occurs. Aldosterone increases sodium absorption, and when sodium is reabsorbed from renal tubules, simultaneously H2O is also reabsorbed, because sodium has tendency to reabsorb along with him H2O also. That means when there is a reabsorption of sodium, there is a reabsorption of H2O, because sodium has tendency to carry water molecules along with him. H2O reabsorption is equals to sodium reabsorption. That means if sodium reabsorption is 50%, then 50% of water molecules are also get reabsorbed because of the tendency of sodium, and net result is the increase in the ECF, so that our ECF volume get increased due to water molecules as well as sodium molecules. And when our ECF is increased, it will affect our blood pressure. So increase in ECF volume and the blood volume finally leads to increase in the blood pressure, because when ECF volume get increases, our cardiac output get also increases. So next terminology is aldosterone escape, and this escape or this phenomenon is very important to understanding our blood pressure regulation, but we will see this in the next lecture. So before concluding this lecture, a short recap on the previous slides. So we have seen basic introduction of adrenal glands, 2 in number, location is on the upper pole of kidney, weight is 4 gram. After that we have seen its source of secretion of various hormones. So adrenal cortex hormones, there are 3 types of hormones from the adrenal cortex, that are mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids and sex hormones, while that of medulla are adrenaline, epinephrine, noradrenaline or norepinephrine or dopamine. These are the hormones of the adrenal medulla. Adrenal cortex is developed from mesonephros, while adrenal medulla is developed from neural crest. 3 hormones of adrenal while transport. Mineralocorticoids are transported along with the globules, but 50% with the free form, while 50% with the binding form. While glucocorticoids, 94% hormones of glucocorticoids are transported by the globules, while 6% are found in the free form. Sex hormones are binds with the sex hormone binding globules. After that we have seen mineralocorticoids. There are 2 types of mineralocorticoids. First one is aldosterone and second one is 11-deoxycorticosterone. But out of those, both these hormones, aldosterone is very important, because 90% of the activity of mineralocorticoids is carried out with the help of this aldosterone. So these mineralocorticoids are secreted from outer zone, that is zona glomerulosa. While chemistry, steroid in nature and half-life is 20 minutes. Daily output of aldosterone is 0.15 microgram per day, while of 11-deoxycorticosterone is 0.2 microgram per day. Plasma level aldosterone 0.006 microgram per deciliter, while that of 11-deoxycorticosterone is 0.006 microgram per deciliter. Then about synthesis, 2 hormones are important, that is CRH and ACTH. CRH is secreted from hypothalamus and acts on anterior pituitary, while ACTH is secreted from anterior pituitary and acts on the cortex, that means adrenal cortex. So this is not very important. So main site of action, that is DCT and collecting duct of the nephrons. As these hormones are steroid in nature, so they binds with the cytoplasmic receptors and acts through the mRNA mechanism. So these hormones are steroid in nature. They can easily pass through this bilipid layer cell membrane and binds with the cytoplasmic receptor, then diffuses into the nucleus and helps to form mRNA, and this mRNA is again diffused into the cytoplasm and helps for the synthesis of proteins. So this is the important slide, that is functions of aldosterone. So aldosterone has three important functions. First one is reabsorption of sodium, excretion of potassium and secretion of H plus ion. So this H plus and K plus ions are excreted through the urine, while sodium get reabsorbed into the blood from renal tubules, sweat glands, salivary glands and from intestine. So when sodium reabsorption from DCT and collecting duct is carried out with the help of aldosterone, and when this aldosterone is secreted in excess quantity, that means hypersecretion of aldosterone, it will result into the loss of sodium through the urine is decreases, while hyposecretion of aldosterone results in increase in the sodium excretion through the urine. As aldosterone is secreted in the excess form, this aldosterone is responsible for more reabsorption of sodium, and when there is a more reabsorption of sodium get less excreted through the urine. Then in the sweat glands, sodium is reabsorbed from sweat glands under the influence of aldosterone. That means when aldosterone is secreted in excess form in our sweat, there is a less sodium ion concentration. So loss of sodium from the body is get prevented. That means our sweat contains less sodium ions in the sweat, because aldosterone is responsible for reabsorption of sodium from the salivary sweat glands. In salivary glands, the same action of aldosterone, that is reabsorption of sodium from the salivary glands, and so that in our saliva sodium loss is decreased or get prevented. So overall function of aldosterone is that conservation of sodium in our body or the blood. Then in the GIT, the same action is there, reabsorption of sodium from the intestine and especially from the colon, so that in our feces less sodium get excreted out. But when there is aldosterone deficiency, that means decrease in sodium reabsorption from intestine, so that in feces more sodium get excreted, and when there is a sodium excretion is more, water is also excreted out with the along with this sodium, and patient causes diarrhea. So overall action of aldosterone is that increase sodium reabsorption, and when this sodium get reabsorbed, H2O is also get reabsorbed, and this reabsorption is in the equal quantity. That means H2O reabsorption is equal to sodium reabsorption, and so that our ECF, that means extracellular fluid, is get increased. Whenever extracellular fluid get increased, that means our cardiac output get increases, and so that pressure is needed more to pump more cardiac output, so that our blood pressure is also get increases. So on blood pressure, the action of aldosterone is that it increases ECF volume, also blood volume, and when aldosterone increases ECF volume and blood volume, finally it leads to increase in the blood pressure. So in the next lecture we will see the important phenomenon and which helps to maintain our blood pressure. and that phenomenon is called as aldosterone escape phenomenon. So thank you for watching this video. So in next lecture we will see the next topic,